Hello fellow artists, art lovers, history folk and anyone else thrown this way by YouTube. Welcome back to my channel. Today's piece is a drawing of my lady knight Serafina and her mighty steed Corsa. Car puns are 100% applicable here. Serafina's a knight who appears in my webcomic, which can be found at ladiesoftheknightcomic.com, which will be linked below. And this is just a drawing I did a couple of weeks back to put my brain back into place after Christmas. I mean, how else do you solve the static brain freeze of Christmas other than some self-indulgent night drawing? As this was self-indulgent, I decided to completely shut away the full illustrator side of my brain, which was screaming about composition and backgrounds, and just let the kind of yay knights thing sort of out. So this drawing will just be Corsa and Serafina floating in white space. I'm also going to take the opportunity to discuss a little bit about personal style and how this affects me and my way of working. I often have people tell me that they really enjoy my style with its sharp edges and colour use, and how they really wish that they could work like me. Which is a sentiment that I also feel for many more artists that are way more skilled than me. So I very much appreciate when people do send me messages, but I also appreciate that I'm not the be-all and end-all of art. I'm somewhere in the middle, and it's quite nice there. So the other day I came across this quote from comics artist Daniel Close. The quote says, "I always think of style as something that's the distance between what you want something to look like and what your hand and brain make it look like unintentionally. And that's quite a gap there, and there's some interesting stuff in that gap." Now, Close is an artist that I was unaware of, but the quote did speak to me, and after some basic research, I certainly suggest that you check his work out. I think we see artists talk a lot about how you should be influenced by multiple things, and the more styles that influence you, the more unique your work is. And this is completely true, but I don't think we talk as much about the place from which that we draw ourselves. As Close said, what your hand and brain makes it look like unintentionally. I can learn as many technical things as possible, smooth, confident lines, perspective, drawing with circles, how to draw like an animator, all these things, you know, these things that we absorb from other artists making YouTube videos or writing tutorials for things. But I mean, when it comes down to the actual act of drawing, me putting my, well, I'd say pencil and paper, but stylus on my tablet, I will always make straight lines and boxes over smooth circles and curves. I work quite heavy-handed. Light marks have never been something that I've been very good at. And by hand, I will often work directly in ink because I tend to snap pencils and things like that, because I should learn how to draw lighter. But I mean, it's been a long time and that's not going to happen, I really don't think, by now. The heavy-handed boxy drawing used to really anger me, as I admired many of the more soft styles that were out there. As a teenager, this was sort of anime, and as I sort of grew older and found different things, it was always those nice, soft, smooth, flowing things that made my heart sing when I was looking at them. But every time I went to draw something like that, it would be quite boxy and heavy, and I keep repeating those words, but that's how my work felt to me for a very long time, in a way that I didn't like it. But the more that I explored the gap, as Close puts it, in between my boxy style and this style that I admired, the more unique my work seemed to me and the more interesting that it was. So the less I got upset with my boxes and my angles and things, the more exciting my work got, and the more excited I was to make it. That's interesting stuff that you find in that little gap. We can get very down on ourselves when our hands won't do what we want them to do, but there is certainly something magical to be found there. Instead of rejecting how your body creates art, we should embrace it. And of course, this is a journey that I'm still on. There are days that I still look at my work and I wonder why I have so many boxy corners to it. But then I see some people posting something nice and I remind myself that that's what I do, it's what I work best in, and I should enjoy that my work is different, that it's not just like every other smooth you know, lovely flowing piece out there. I like to think that I've got flow in my work, but it comes through angles and shapes that maybe my brain sees in the world that somebody else's doesn't. And that's what your style should be. It should be your unique view of the world. And while we can pull from those external influences, those things that we see from other people, or cartoons or animations or whatever that we see, and we want our work to look like that, but that point in between how you draw and how you want to draw is uniquely you, and we shouldn't reject that or reject ourselves because of that. Of course, there's always going to be those technical things that we can improve on, and that's a completely different thing to learning how to draw with style. The technical aspects of perspective, composition, colour theory, all that kind of stuff can always be improved on. But how you interpret those technical things is where the art happens. If we just made perfect technical art, it would be really boring. We would all make work that looked the same. And I just love the fact that I can draw a lady knight sitting on a horse, and a friend of mine can draw a lady knight sitting on a horse, maybe even the same character, and they will both look completely unique and different, and that's special. Of course, there's always something to be said for those people who do want to work in a place that does have a house style, that you need to be able to work that way, but that's not me, so this is not a video about that. I guess I'm coming towards the end of this picture now. I haven't necessarily talked too much about what's actually going on in this picture, but it should be fairly self-evident. Feel free to check out some of my other videos if you want some more information about what I'm actually drawing, or drop me some questions below if you have seen me do something and you want me to explain it in more detail. I don't mind, it might be subject for a future video. So I will see you guys next week for Worth Wednesday, which all the footage has been filmed and the picture is complete. I just need to finish editing. And in the meantime, why don't you check out my comic so you can see more of this character. That is found at ladiesofthenight.comic.com. And see you next week. Bye.